Man, it's kind of crazy how fast things can shift in a division. I mean, RDR goes out there, beats Whittaker, who's ranked number 5, and now people are finally paying attention. And I'm not going to lie, I think he beats a lot of the top 10. Maybe not all of them. Maybe he doesn't run through the whole division, but style-wise, he is a problem for a lot of these dudes. He just knows how to make it ugly, grind you down, and mess with your rhythm. So yeah, now that he should be in the top 5 this week, let's talk about it. One by one, how does RDR match up with the killers at 185? Alright, so let's get the easy ones out of the way and let's talk about these guys that are on top of the top 10. Jared Cannonier. Yeah, I'm taking RDR. Jared's tough, don't get me wrong. He hits hard, but in my opinion, he's really basic when it comes to his setups. You pressure him, take away his space, and he kind of gets stuck. And we already saw Kyle Brahalo hold him against the cage and control him for stretches. So imagine what RDR can do. He's bigger, more physical, and he doesn't just stall. He chips away at you, drags you into deep waters, and makes you work. And I think RDR's pressure would be a nightmare for Cannonier. He's not going to let him play that kickboxing game. He'd close the distance, wear on him, and probably steal rounds off control and activity. Wouldn't shock me if it ended in a late finish either, just from a grind alone. The next fighter we got is Roman Dolidze. Bro, that's a grind fest, but I think RDR will win that one too. Roman's strong, and he's dangerous early on, but if he doesn't get you out there, he fades. RDR thrives in that second half grind, and I think he'll just outlast him, outposition him, and probably make it ugly. Now, Anthony Hernandez, ooh, that one's tough in my opinion, I'm not gonna lie. Fluffy's a dog, dude. He never gets tired, and he's a nightmare in scrambles. I still lean RDR just off size and control, but that's not an easy fight to call. One thing I noticed, though, is that Anthony's got a bit of a weak stomach. We've seen Kevin Holland and Michael Pereira hurt him to the body, and with the way that RDR throws those knees up the middle, I could totally see him being a problem. If RDR can get him stuck and chip away, especially with those knees, I think he can edge it out. But yeah, that one's razor close in my opinion. Brandon Allen. Man, Allen's slick, no doubt about it when it comes to the grappling. His striking is improving, but I don't trust him when he gets pressured and smothered. RDR is the kind of guy who won't give Brandon space to work. And once he's on you, he stays glued. I could see Allen having moments, but over 15 or 25 minutes, I think RDR just bullies him. Now, Paulo Costa, man. That one would be absolute chaos. I'm talking heavy shots, wild scrambles, crowd going nuts probably. And as much as I respect Costa's power and explosiveness, I gotta be honest, I slightly lean RDR in that one. Yeah, Costa's a problem when he's fresh. He throws when he has heat. You know, he's hard to take down, and he's not the type of guy to back up and fold under pressure. But that's the thing. He does slow down. And against someone like RDR, that's where the fight can turn. RDR doesn't need to dominate early. He just needs to keep that pace, keep that grind going. He doesn't let you breathe. He'll walk you down, mix in the clinch, chain wrestle, and make you work for every single position. And I do believe over time that starts adding up, especially against someone like Costa who's known to fade if he can't get you out there early. I'm not saying it's a blowout, far from it. Costa's dangerous for all 3 rounds or 5 rounds. He could absolutely crack RDR with something nasty and flip the script. But if it goes long, if it becomes a battle of attrition, I favor RDR. I think his cardio, his pressure, and durability can carry him through this. It's a close one, but I'm going to go with RDR by decision. Alright, man, this is where we start to get serious. We're hitting the top 5, or I guess top 6 technically, but I guess we'll start with RDR versus Kyle Brahalo. And I know some folks might lean RDR off the momentum, but believe it or not, I'm actually going the other way here. I think Kyle takes this one. Like, here's what people overlook with Kyle. Yeah, he's technical, calm, good in the feet, but he's also fights with a lot of physicality. He's strong in the clinch, he's hard to take down, and when he sprawls heavy. You're not just dragging this dude around. Even in the grappling exchanges, he knows how to control the tempo and stay out of bad spots. Now, don't get me wrong, RDR is relentless. He's awkward, unpredictable, and he thrives in those messy fights. But I feel like Cajo's the kind of guy who actually does well in that chaos. He's composed, he doesn't get dragged into brawls, he'll stuff the takedown, fight for position, and pick his shots. And I just think Cajo's going to be more composed, and more physical in the right spots. And that might give him the edge in this fight. RDR is still dangerous, still a handful for anyone. But if I'm going to go with the winner in this fight, I would go with Cajo by unanimous decision. With all that being said, the next person we have is Nassourdine Imavov. And honestly, this one's a real interesting one if you really dig into it. Like, yeah, people are sleeping on how dangerous Nassourdine really is. I mean, we've seen the power. Just look how clean he caught Izzy in their last fight. That alone makes you go, damn, this guy's scary. And I get that. If it's a 3-rounder, he's a legit threat to catch RDR early. That first 2 rounds with Imavov is scary because Imavov is sharp, he's explosive, and he's got that sniper timing with his hands. But here's where it gets tricky in my opinion, and why I lean towards RDR in a 5-rounder. Imavov tends to fade, like noticeably. You watch this fight against Buckley, he was cooking for 2 rounds, and then all of a sudden he starts slowing down in the third. Even against Delidze, the dude was clinching and stalling like he was conserving energy. That's not what you want to see if you're trying to deal with someone like RDR who never just stops moving forward. RDR is the kind of guy who ramps up the fight as it goes on. It's that grinding, suffocating pace. He doesn't need to be flashy. He just drowns you. And in a 5-rounder, I think that's the difference. If RDR can weather the storm early, which he's proven that he can, I think he can start walking Imavov down and taking over by round 3. You can't just show up and coast against a guy like RDR. He'll make you pay for it. So yeah, maybe it sounds a little crazy now, but give them 25 minutes and I'm rolling with RDR. It might not be pretty, but I think he'll outlast them and steal the later rounds. Now, when it comes to Israel Adesanya, man, that's the matchup that should be next. And if it gets booked, I'll be honest, I don't think it's as clear cut as some people might assume. Yeah, Izzy's the better striker, high level, the timing, the feints, the footwork, all of that is elite. But RDR brings a different kind of chaos. He's not just another striker trying to figure Izzy out of range. He's a grappling problem with cardio, pressure, and some of the most awkward entries in the division. And then there's the size, man. That part matters a lot here. RDR's a big middleweight. He's like 6'4", long, strong, kind of herky-jerky in the way that he moves. Izzy's used to being the taller, longer guy. He's used to managing distance, picking you apart. Or just recently, he's been more boxing and aggressive heavy. But he's there just to make you silly from the outside. But with RDR, that advantage is gone. Now you have a dude just as long as you who's not trying to play the same game. He's trying to close the distance, grab a leg, or clinch up and put you against the fence, or take you down, or just beat you up in the fence. And I get it, Izzy has solid takedown defense, but RDR ain't really shooting double legs in the middle of the cage. He's walking you down, pushing you to the feints, chaining weird trips and body locks, and grinding you until you make a mistake. That's a different kind of threat, and I think it could take Izzy out of his comfort zone. Now, don't get me wrong, Izzy could absolutely catch him. He's still one of the best counter strikers in this weight class. Now, if RDR gets too reckless or overextends on a shot, it could be lights out. But over 5 rounds, with RDR's pace, his length, and his control game, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he made Izzy look human again. And to be fair, I can see RDR gain a late TKO in the 3rd round. With all that being said, we head to Strickland versus RDR. Now, that is a weird fight that can go either way depending on how you look at it. On one hand, Sean Strickland's cardio, his jab, and his volume are all elite. The dude walks like a zombie and doesn't care if you're throwing bombs. He's just going to pressure you, jab you to death, and try to mentally break you. And against a guy like RDR, who sometimes fights and bursts, that pressure could be a real problem. But then again, there's the body shots. Sean has that high guard, shell defense, He's great at rolling with punches, but his body, it's wide open. And RDR, that dude lives off the clinch and the knees to the stomach. He'll throw that left knee to the gut all day if you're just standing tall in front of him. And that's why I'm kind of leaning RDR. I think he can get to Sean, to the fence, survive the volume, and just start ripping the body. Then the knees could be the story of the fight. If he slows Sean down just enough to control the pace, makes in takedowns or 2, I could see him stealing rounds and maybe even pulling away late. Not saying it's easy, Strickland is kind of hard to hold down and never really fades. But stylistically, RDR's tools line up nicely against the holes in Sean's game, and I'll take RDR by decision in a gritty back and forth fight. Now Khamzat, that's just a brutal matchup for RDR. The speed, the aggression, the pressure, it's all coming at him right out of the gate, and that's the problem. Khamzat cannot be matched physicality. RDR usually breaks guys by wearing them down and bullying them in the clinch or on the mat. But that's not going to happen here. Khamzat's just as strong, if not stronger, and he's not someone who you can just push around. There's also a clear gap in speed and explosiveness. Khamzat's faster, more dynamic, and doesn't give you time to settle in. And in the grappling, RDR isn't going to have the edge that he usually relies on. Khamzat's wrestling is tighter, more aggressive, and backed by serious athleticism. He won't be easy to clinch, control, or submit. If anything, he's the one that's dictating where the fight goes. RDR doesn't get the time to build. He gets overwhelmed early, gets beat in every position, and finished in probably the 1st round. I think Khamzat's grappling is too much, too fast, and too aggressive. With that being said, Khamzat by 1st round finish, most likely a rear naked choke. And with all that being said, last but not least, DDP versus RDR. The dream match. The plot armor versus plot armor. So yeah, I'm taking Drakus in this one, and I really don't think it goes for all 5 rounds. The thing is, RDR usually gets away with bullying guys at middleweight, right? He's big, strong, knows how to use his frame in the clinch, slows you down, just kind of smothers you, you know? But with DDP, that size edge disappears. You can't bully a dude who's just as big and built like a tank. And on top of that, Drakus pushes back like hard. You try to walk him down, he's gonna swing wild, awkward shots. He's got that weird timing, and it throws people off. Plus, he doesn't fade. If anything, he starts heating up. And RDR, man, he's not used to that kind of pressure coming back at him. I'll be honest, I think RDR might win the first round, maybe control a bit early, but once Drakus starts walking him down, and I need those super blitz heavy shots, you know, those Captain Underpants blitz, I don't think RDR survives that. He's not going to be able to use his size like he usually does, and that changes everything in my opinion. I'm going to go with DDP by TKO, either round 2 or round 3. He's too big, too wild, too relentless. So yeah, when it's all said and done, Reinier de Ridder is still a problem at 185. That Whittaker win wasn't a fluke. He's big, awkward, relentless, and knows how to drag dudes into his kind of fight. He'll grind you out, chip away at you, and against a lot of the top 10, that's enough. He beats like, what, 80% of the middleweights in the top 10. And he's not unbeatable, obviously, but RDR is still going to stay as a threat, no doubt about that. But if he wants to go from spoiler to champ, he's going to need more than grind, because some of these boys don't break. They bite back, okay? But Reinier de Ridder is legit a top 5 fighter. He's going to be there for a while, and I personally like his style, so, you know, he's a beast. But that's just my thoughts on that entire thing. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, guys, I'll see you guys on my next one.